Hey everyone, thanks for coming along. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Logitech Combo Touch all-in-one keyboard, trackpad and case. Now, this is actually the first of its kind that's been released. When Apple released the iOS 13.4 with full cursor support a few weeks ago, they opened up a whole new category for the iPad. We had these smart keyboard folios and we'd had very limited cursor support from last year through accessibility, but this was a whole new way of doing it. And Apple did a really great job. This was not just slapping a cursor on the screen, they created a unique way of using it which made the prospect of new products for the iPad with trackpad all the more exciting. Apple is releasing their own take on that, and I'll be back with a video on that in a couple of days. But the actual first product to be released with a full multi-touch trackpad is this product from Logitech. Now, the Combo Touch is for the most recent iPad Airs and the 10.5-inch iPad Pro, but the comparison to Apple's upcoming Magic Keyboard for the 11 and 12.9-inch iPad Pro is important. Apple is very keen on not just turning the iPad into a laptop. The tablet mode is what it was born on, and you just have to see the way Steve Jobs sat in a huge black leather chair when he unveiled it to know that. The modular approach is where Apple is obviously going, and that becomes important later in this review. The Combo Touch comes in two parts. The iPad slots in easily and the keyboard attaches simply by snapping to the Magic Smart connectors. And that's it. It's also powered by the connector, so no need for batteries or charging. Usage of the trackpad is almost fantastic. You can perfectly swipe, pinch, scroll, and most importantly use all the multi-touch gestures with 2, 3 or 4 fingers. It's really what you want, and it deploys Apple's new UI cursor perfectly. Honestly, it's really great. Except the trackpad is on a tilting hinge, so if you go to click along the top fifth of it, you don't get any response, nothing. Not even if you press really hard. This is quite a minus point in what is otherwise a great trackpad. You can tweak the settings by changing it to tap to click, but lots of people prefer the pressing mode, me included. It's very responsive and feels great while tracking across it. Likewise, the keyboard is fantastic to use. It has a decent amount of travel and a satisfyingly solid clunk when you hit the bottom. It's fast and easy to use, though I know some people won't like the arrow key arrangement. It's also got great backlighting, which, let's be honest, should really be a default these days. I had an issue with the apostrophe and backslash keys not working at first, but resetting the hardware keyboard in settings fixed that. However, the big feature of the keyboard is the media keys along the top. This is something that the Magic Keyboard lacks and the Combo Touch really benefits from. The search, playback, volume and brightness keys are very handy, but also included is a home key and lock key. These are great little additions, allowing quick access to the home screen and the ability to quickly lock the screen rather than having to fumble around for the power key on the actual iPad. It's additions like this that really make it shine. In laptop mode on a desk, it is really great to use. It's also not bad on the lap too, though the typing experience is not as solid due to the thickness of the keyboard and the kickstand feels a little weird resting against your legs. You'll also want to keep your legs fairly close together and quite level, but all in all, it's a great laptop feel. Unfortunately, when you go further, that's when it starts to suffer a little. Apple's approach to the iPad is becoming more and more modular, and rightly so. The idea of being able to sit at a desk and work like on a laptop, then be able to take the iPad, go relax in the living room and browse the web, read, play games or watch videos is really appealing and something that really sets it apart from other devices out there. Logitech's approach to this is to make the keyboard easily detachable from the iPad and the case. It's simple. You just break it off. It's easy, but that kind of exposes a bit of a flaw. The keyboard breaks off a little too easily, meaning I dropped it several times while moving around with it still attached. Then we come to the weight. At 650 grams, it much more than doubles the weight of the iPad, which comes in at around 480 grams. It also triples the thickness. When you break off the keyboard, you've still almost doubled the weight of it though. So while in reading mode, you're still carrying a really chunky device in your hands. This is not that comfortable with two hands, and you won't last more than about 20 seconds with one hand. On top of that, you have this really ugly gap on the side where the keyboard slots in. It doesn't look nice and also makes holding it a little uncomfortable. Now, of course, you could just take the iPad out of the case, but it is quite fiddly to do so, and I wouldn't recommend repeatedly doing it either, which highlights this issue around modular iPad use. To get the iPad, a so-called flat slab of glass, to work in these different modes, you need accessories, but they also have to be adaptable to those modes without feeling clunky or difficult to use in others. It's a very tough job, one which remains to be seen whether even Apple themselves can achieve. Their new Magic Keyboard easily seems to solve the tablet mode by simply tearing the iPad away from the cover, but it has no position for it to draw in. The Combo Touch does have a very flexible and sturdy kickstand for laptop mode, but even though it creates a nice angle for drawing, it has too much bounce or give. You definitely can't rest your hand on it while using the pencil. Overall, this is a very interesting product from Logitech. On the one hand, they've implemented Apple's new cursor support and gestures brilliantly, almost flawlessly in fact. It's great to type on, and the case is, if nothing else, very protective. But in other use cases, it's just not the same enjoyment. Tablet mode is heavy, chunky, and so not as pleasurable. Also, if you're buying a new iPad, you could get the Air, pencil and this Combo Touch case for just over £700 or $750. That's not bad. In the end, it's a great product if you're going to mainly use it as a laptop. In fact, it's almost ideal, but then that sells the iPad itself short. It's meant to be so much more. The good news is that this is the very first product out of the gate, developed before we even knew cursor support was coming. So the prospect of more products from Logitech and others as they refine the way they design these accessories is very exciting. The iPad looks like it has a very intriguing future with their help. Thanks for watching everyone. If you like what you saw, give me a little like down below and let me know what you thought of this Logitech case in the comments section. Do you think you'll be getting one? Are you working from home and you think this is going to be a great addition to your home office setup? Or do you think it's a little too cumbersome and unwieldy? Do let me know. I'll be back later in the week with a video about the Magic Keyboard from Apple. I'll be comparing it to this keyboard and talking about the modularity of the iPad and what people are doing right about it and where it can go. I've also got an upcoming video on the original iPhone, which I'm working on. The problem is this lockdown is making it a little difficult to do, so that should hopefully be along in the near future. Remember to subscribe so you know when all the new videos come out. Thanks, and stay safe.